We're on page 107, and from problem number 3 we're going to do 3L and 3N, and then from problem 4 we're going to do 4J and 4N. So starting with 3L, you can see here that we've got a radical term on the left, we've got a radical term on the right. We're going to square the left hand side and we're going to get this. And when we square this term here, we're going to use the FOIL method. So treat this as an individual term, one thing, entity here. So this times first squared is this. The inner term is going to be minus 2 times the root of 3x plus 4, and the outer is going to be minus 2 times the root of 3x plus 4, so that will sum to minus 4 times the root of 3x plus 4. The last times the last gives me plus 4. So now this square root sign 2x minus 4 squared, the squared cancels, if you like, the square root sign. We have 2x minus 4. Same thing over here. This becomes 3x plus 4. And this term stays the same, as does this term. So now what we're going to do is isolate take this over onto the other side right here. Bring the minus 4 from the right side to the left side, we get plus 4. The 2x will go from the left side to the right side, that's why we've got 3x minus 2x. And this minus 4 will add to that 4 and that 4. So we got 4 plus 4 plus 4. So this becomes x plus 12 on this side, x plus 12. So I've got x plus 12 on this side. I divide both sides by 4, and I get the root of 3x plus 4. I divide this side by 4, and I get x plus 12 over 4. So I've isolated the radical again, and now I'm going to square both sides. And if I square this side, I get this. If I square this one, I square the numerator first, I get x plus 12 times x plus 12, I get x squared, plus inner is 12x, outer is also plus 12x. I sum those, I get 24x, and the last times the last becomes 144. When I square the denominator, I get 16. I'm going to multiply 16 times the left side, and when I multiply 16 times the right side, I get rid of this fraction here. So I'm multiplying both sides after squaring both sides right here. I'm going to divide, I'm going to multiply through by 16 so that I get rid of this 16 here. So 16 times this gives me 16 times 3x plus 4. 16 here on the right side, the 16 on the numerator and the denominator will cancel. I'm left with x squared plus 24x plus 144. 16 times 3x gives me 48x. 16 times plus 4 gives me 64. And now what I'm going to do is bring the 48x from the left side to the right side. So I have 24x minus 48x is minus 24x. I'm going to transpose the 64 from the left to the right. 144 minus 64 gives me plus 80 equals 0. So now what I'm going to do is take the first times the first, factor this actually as this, and to show that the first times the first is x squared, the minus 4 times the minus 20 gives me plus 80. The inner is minus 4x and the outer is minus 20x, and they sum to minus 24x. So these are the factors of this, so we get x equal to 4 and x equal to 20. I'm going to check both of those answers by plugging them into the left side and the right side of the equation. So the left side is the root of 2x minus 4. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 minus 4 is 4 under the root sign, and the square root of 4 is 2. Here we have 3x plus 4, and so 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus 4 is 16. Square root of 16 is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. So x equals 4 substituted in the left side gives 2. X equals 4 substituted in the right side gives me 2. The left side equals the right side. And so we're okay with that answer here. X equals 20. 2 times 20 is 40. 40 minus 4 is square root of 36 equals 6. I put 20 into here. 3 times 20 is 60. 60 plus 4 is 64. Square root of 64 is 8. 8 minus 2 is 6. So the left side equals the right side. Now over here, again, I've got the root of 3x minus 8 plus the root of x equals 4. And what I'm going to do is just leave one root sign by itself, the more complicated one by itself, 3x minus 8. I'm going to isolate that on the left, and I'm going to bring this other plus root x on the other side. So I have root signs on both sides. If I try to square this, it's going to be very, very difficult. And so it's easier if I isolate this, the square root of x, transpose it from the left to the right. Now, I'm going to square the left side, and I'm going to square the right side. So this squared gives me 3x minus 8. This, I'm going to multiply it by itself because of the squared term. First times first is going to give me 16. Minus the square root of x times minus the square root of x is going to give me plus x. That's the last term. The inner is going to be minus 4 root x. The outer is going to be minus 4 root x. When I sum those, I get minus 8 root x right here. So now what I'm going to do, isolate this, because this is the only one with a root. Isolate this on the left, and I'm going to bring the 3x over to this side, in which case 3x is going to be minus 3x. Minus 3x is going to be minus 2x. And the minus 8, bring it to the right side, I'm going to get plus 8. 16 plus 8 is 24. So now I've isolated the radical here. I'm going to square both sides and I get this. 8 times 8 is 64. Square root of x times square root of x is x. So I get 64x. Here, first times first, 24 squared is 576. Last times last is plus 4x squared. The inner one is minus 2x times 24, which is minus 48x. And the inner and outer are both minus 48x, so when I sum them, I get minus 96x. Now, in going from this line to this one, all I've done is move this term to the right-hand side. So 96x minus 96x minus 64x gives me 160x. Brought this to this side, to the right side, and then combined it with this term gives me this. Now what have I done? I've divided through by 4 to simplify. So you can see I can divide each one of these numbers is divisible by 4. 576 divisible by 4 is 144. 160 divisible by 4 is 40. And 4 divided by 4 is 1. Now, of course, you've got to make sure your signs are right. This is plus, this is minus. And of course, 0 divided by 4 is still 0. When I factor this, the factors come out to be 36 minus x, 4 minus x, and you can see 36 times 4 is 144. The inner is going to be minus 4x, the outer is going to be minus 36x. When I combine minus 4x with minus 36x, I get minus 40x. And the last is going to be minus x times minus x is going to be plus x squared. So I get two numbers here as solutions, and then we have to check them. So if we put 36 in here, 3 times 36 is 108. 108 minus 8 is 100, and the square root of 100 is 10. We put the 36 over here. Square root of 36 is 6. 10 plus 6 is 16. But let's look at the right side of the equation. The right side of the equation is 4. So this is not a valid solution. The left side does not equal the right side. So 36 is an extraneous solution. It's not valid. Let's check the other one. We put x equal 4 into the left side. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 minus 8 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 4 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. And the right side is 4. So the left side equals the right side. So that is a valid solution. Now we're going to go to problem 4J. And here what we're going to do is we have no option but to square both sides here. So we put a bracket around this and square this, and we put a bracket around this and square it. So here, the first times the first gives me 4x plus 5. The last times the last gives me plus x. I can multiply the x for the inner times the 4x plus 5 and keep it under the root sign right here. But I have both the inner and outer, so that's why I have minus 2 here. So square the first term here by FOIL, square the last term, I get that. Combine the inner and the outer, and I get that. And of course this squared is this. So now what I've done is isolate the radical to the right. So I moved this to the right. Okay, now when I transpose the 4x over here, you can see this x and this x will cancel. So I'm just left with 4x over here. And here I have 5, and if I transpose the plus 3 from the right to the left, I have minus 3, and that's why I have 2. Divide both sides through by 2. So 2 into this gives me 2x plus 1. The 2 here cancels, and I'm just left what's under the root sign. So now I square the left side, and I square the right side. And 2x plus 1 times 2x plus 1 gives me 4x squared plus 4x plus 1. And this squared here gives me that. And x times 4x is 4x squared, and x times plus 5 is 5x. So now you can see these two terms will cancel. And I'm going to be left with, I transpose the 4x from the left to the right, I'll have 5x minus 4x and 1 on there, so x equals 1. I go back and I check the solution x equal 1, put it into the left side. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 5 is 9, the root of 9 is 3, 3 minus 1 is 2. I put 1 into here. 1 plus 3 is the root of 4. Root of 4 is 2, so the left side equals the right side. So the solution x equals 1 is valid. Finally, and just so there's no confusion, this really means there's a cube root here. It's not a 3. When this 3 appears here, right up here in this corner, it's like this. So the cube root plus 2 equals 0. What I do is I isolate the radical, bring the minus 2 on this. Now, to get rid of this cube root sign here, I have to put a cube here. And what I do to one side, I do to the other side. So I'm going to cube this side, the left side, get this, to get rid of this here, and I have to cube the right side. This negates this, and I'm just left with this. Minus 2 times minus 2 times minus 2 is really minus 2 cubed, so I get minus 8. And I bring the 1 over to this side, I get 3x equals minus 9, and x equals minus 3. Now, I replace the x with minus 3. 3 times minus 3 is minus 9, plus 1 is minus 8. The cube root of minus 8 is minus 2. We have the plus 2 here. Minus 2 and plus 2 equals 0. So the right side is 0. The left side equals the right side. So this is a valid solution. Now, just a couple of points here. The cube root of minus 8 is asking me what number multiplied by itself. When I'm asking the cube root of minus 8, I'm saying what number multiplied by itself 3 times will give me minus 8? And the answer is minus 2. Minus 2 times minus 2 times minus 2 works out to be minus 8. This completes our doing the problems on sample problems on